guys, welcome to episode 10 of Keeping Up with Conspicuous. I always stumble at the number we're on because 10 episodes is crazy.
It's flown by. It's going to be Christmas soon.
We have got a couple of people watching live on LinkedIn today. Apologies, I was making a drink. That's why we're a bit late, sorry.
Yeah, I know, we did forget about going live for a second, but we're on. I feel like my dad's probably going to tune into this. Like, watching Dad.
Oh.
No, but today we're going to be talking a little bit about how you can stand out as a business. So as a client, how do you stand out in such a competitive market? Because I don't know what episode it was, so don't ask me that, but a few weeks back, we done a how to stand out as a candidate. It's only fair if we go on the client side because we've learnt a lot. We've been to a few conferences where we've met clients and how they've been struggling to get that top tier talent and everything like that. And
we're seeing it from both sides every single day, or three sides, recruiters, candidate, clients. So for us, we kind of know how you can maybe improve to attract top tier talent. I mean, that's a phrase Lucy uses, which I like. So we just wanted to have a discussion around that. I mean, Lucy, so it was your idea. So do you have any initial thoughts that you wanted to mention?
Well, one thing you mentioned is I always use the term top tier talent, and I remember having a bit of a disagreement, not even a disagreement, a bit of a conversation with someone on LinkedIn via a comment when I posted a video like that. They were like, well, what do you mean by top tier talent? Great question. It really does depend on the client and what their reality and expectation of top tier talent is. So this is an overall view of how you can start. Now, this is one of my pet peeves with some clients, and I don't know. It's quite easy to forget, but if you're a client and you know most of your talent comes from LinkedIn, make your LinkedIn up to date. The amount of pages I've gone on to, and in the about section, there's facts and figures and all of this. And it's so outdated.
It's just so boring and a lot of
It's so
but it is for us when you looked at me and Lucy's LinkedIn profiles.
I'm going
to they need a bit more updated, but we are quite busy, I must admit. But I have to say, I don't think you would say they're boring. I think they're colourful, they're vibrant, they're very the posts are varied. Just they've got a little bit of jokes. I mean, I think in my bio I've got outside of work, I like cooking and trying to force my boyfriend to go on runs. So just bring a bit of your culture. I do that. Bring a bit of your culture into LinkedIn. That is the candidate, how they're getting a representation of your company. How are you going to persuade that candidate that is top tier for you and the job they're applying for? So they might not be the most senior person in the world, but they're top tier because they've got every single skill you're looking for in that job application. And how are you going to attract them to join your company over thousands in the UK?
Because it's such a saturated, once again being a little bit specific, but for our market in
Dynamics, ERP, CRM.
Yeah, our market is very saturated. It is a tiny pond you're fishing from. And therefore, you've got to be able to stand out. And I see bios of people. Well, I don't know who's in charge of I'm assuming their marketing team are in charge of their pages, but they're advertising awards from 2006 or something, when I'm probably sure that you've won more things or had more.
I know one of our clients, obviously I'm not going to name names, one of our clients has loads of awards. If you go on their website, brilliant, and they have all the awards, and they've got what you said, they've got ones from 2006, but they have 2021, 2022, and they don't have that on their LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is a snapshot. Yeah, if you're on a mobile phone, you can get an idea of a company in seconds rather than looking up a website, trying to find a website. Are there 5 companies called Cloud something in the world? Which one is it? Just get a really quick idea of your company. Initially, is there interest to apply for your job?
Yeah. Recommendations and reviews as well. We say it for candidates, but it applies for clients. Ask current employees to give recommendations on LinkedIn. Post it on your page.
Yeah.
The amount of candidates, because culture is such a big thing in 2023, since COVID years, that has become quite a priority for most people. But I would say, Glassdoor still a thing, and I get candidates say, oh, I looked on Glassdoor, there wasn't many reviews I could go by. Okay, they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile, so get reviews on there as well.
Yeah.
Ask them to even post on Glassdoor, because people clearly do still look at that as a tool to see whether this workplace is a good fit for them.
Especially as a tool for negative reviews, because like TripAdvisor, most of the time, or less so TripAdvisor now, but most of the time, they're going on there because they've had a bad experience and maybe a bad interview or a bad experience working there. So you need to be monitoring. So our HR lady, Vanessa, who was on one of the first podcasts, she monitors our Glassdoor reviews for conspicuous. So if we've had not bad negative feedback, but just constructive criticism, maybe from an interview we've conducted for someone to join, we will work on that. We will respond to them. We will reach out to them. How can we fix this? How can we improve? It's not a negative. It's an improvement and learning process. So to attract talent and stand out, you need to be on a constant learning journey with marketing, feedback.
Yeah. And even we're all very close as a company, and if Rob said to me, Lucy, is there any chance you could do a recommendation on LinkedIn about your time at Conspicuous so far? I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, Rob.
Yeah.
Because I like my workplace. So obviously, take 2 minutes out of your day. It takes 30 seconds for him to ask me, 2 minutes of my time to get a recommendation and put it on LinkedIn for him to publish. And guess what? It will take 2 minutes for a candidate to look at your profile, see that, and be more inclined to apply for a job.
Deciding factor.
And all those little things can add up to such a positive impact. And it's things like that just clients in general don't think about.
And it is hard to remember everything, but I think me and Lucy will make a massive effort. Obviously, we have so much we now have to remember to say to clients and candidates. It's hard to remember everything,
especially when you're like Dory the fish from Nemo.
But we're going to try and make a massive effort to say, if we're working with a client and there's 3 hiring managers for a role or for a couple of roles, why are you, as a hiring manager or as a manager or whatever your role is in that company, and you're recruiting people to join, why have you not written a review or got involved more on the LinkedIn side of things to attract candidates?
Marketing is so important. Our lady behind the camera, Helena, who one day you'll meet, we'll drag her on, I promise.
We are going to
drag her on. They are so important within a company. I mean, since Helena has been here, so much has transformed. You've probably seen a huge improvement of our page. Stats, feedback, everything on our page is so up to date. But I would say a lot of companies need to probably invest a little bit more time or invest in a person to be able to do these little things, because we get it, you're busy, you've got so much going on, and as clients in a business, you've got so many little things to worry about, like we do as well. And it is easy to forget about these things that go on.
But that's why you can use tools like, can you get someone in to do something for you an hour a week or a couple of hours a week and just do your marketing stuff for you? Can you use AI technologies to maybe give you some advice on what you can post, maybe a timetable? So you're not asking it to write posts for you on LinkedIn, for example, or recommendations. You're asking for ideas to formulate a sort of week plan, week by week, 5-day plan of what you can post on LinkedIn to add value and to showcase you as a client. Stuff like that. I mean, moving away from LinkedIn then, I think attracting top tier talent, if you're working with a recruiter, how to improve your processes, make sure you give really detailed feedback on interviews, because how can a recruiter make sure they're sending the right type of candidates if they're not getting feedback on candidates they're sending through? So that is a really good... It's a little bit of a roundabout way in which what we're talking about, but it's a slightly different angle. So
I like the angle. I wouldn't have thought about mentioning that, to be fair. I think that's a really good, valid point. We've had it in the past. We weren't really getting feedback from a client, and we were sending profiles that we thought were right from what we had been given.
Yeah.
We didn't get any response, and then we got told in the end all those profiles aren't what we're looking for, and it's like, well, one, it's wasting our time. One, we don't want to waste their time either reading through CVs that aren't of interest. So that feedback is
important.
Huge,
yeah, and it helps you adjust your search for what you maybe want But also, if you've got adverts up on any platform, job adverts, can you make sure you update them? So if you've changed the requirements slightly, or you...
God, you're looking at this from every angle, aren't you?
Yeah, different angle.
So
Or,
neat.
like, if you're not getting many people apply for the role, change it up. Like, make the advert a bit more fun. Add more info in, take info out. I don't know, just change the advert up all the time, because change the title of the role, if it's a developer role, change it to technical consultant, or change it to software engineer, because you're going to reach different people.
Audiences. And actually, little insight into our best practice this week. Obviously, everything that me and Tyler are saying is subjective to what we have found out. So obviously there will be people that disagree with what we say, or agree, or have their own thoughts. So if you're sat there sort of thinking, don't agree. Fair play. Let us know your thoughts, because obviously we'll take that on board. But an insight into our best practice this week was a little bit about job adverts and how to, attract that talent. Because one thing, this is a little secret that we'll release, but I done a poll, was it yesterday? I feel like the days have gone, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I done a poll just about what candidates want to see on the job ad, whether it's short and sweet, long and in detail, bullet points, or salary. And do you know how many people have clicked that they won't look at a job advert unless the salary is on there? Like,
that's crazy.
So for clients who are maybe recruiting internally, or posting adverts alongside their agency they're partnering with, that the salary is a big thing. But as Tyler said, you're only going to attract a certain audience from what you put in that job advert. So tweaking it will
just refreshes things and changes it up. And if you have been recruiting for a role for a long time, if candidates know and can see your adverts being on LinkedIn for 3 months and hardly any applicants, it's not going to look great. So just refresh it, or repost it, maybe rejig it, I don't know. And there will be maybe you took someone on and they left and it didn't work out. It doesn't matter. It's just from a candidate's perspective that would help. Please put salary on. I know sometimes it's a bit confidential, but if you can, please, because it just means if you give a range, maybe 30 to 45, that would, I'd say 15,000 is the biggest range you could maybe get away with, just to give candidates a bit of an idea. I'd rather you do it more specific, like a 30 to 35,000, for example, but at least it gives the candidates some sort of ballpark, like, okay, I'm on 35, but there is reach to get to that 40 if I need it. Maybe I've moved house, maybe I've been in the role and I've seen no progression for a while, that's why I'm moving. Just please think from a candidate's perspective. It's not all about money, but it means they don't have to tell you and ask you about the salary all the time.
Absolutely. And I remember we were having a chat in the office yesterday, and I think it was Vanessa was like, I wouldn't apply for a job if I didn't know what the salary was. And
I don't know.
I don't think I would either, to be fair. And I forget that sometimes you need to put yourself in the candidate's shoes as a client or a hiring manager. Pop yourself in and think, what do they actually want to see? What do they want to know? What do they want to get from this?
That is such an important point, what you just said. Genuinely, you all should listen to Lucy there, because we have to do it. We have to do it. That's how I stay. Try to be a thoughtful recruiter, is thinking, well, what you just said.
Well, it's so easy. Me and Louis have a bit of a laugh about this, but it's so easy to think about you and what you want, even as what does my client want. Well, obviously that's what we need to think about. What does my candidate want? They're the two priorities. But take recruiters out of the picture. Say if you're a client that's hiring, you're thinking how, what do I want for my business? Who do I want for my business? And sometimes that can sort of take over the process, because actually you need to be thinking, what does a candidate want from this process? What do they want from a company? It's all about them. And it's hard to sort of change that mindset. I struggle with it sometimes. If I'm approaching a client, I'm like, no, Lucy, it's not about you and what you can give them. It's about what they want and what they want to get from this,
how we can add, oops, that's my clip. How we can add value.
God.
I told you, I literally made a drink and ran in this room. Helena was like, get in here now.
She needs her Monster. She's got the withdrawal shake she needed.
Recruitment, hey. But no, seriously, I do think it's just important to always put yourself, for any role you're in, if if you can put yourself in the position of the person that you're working with, so the candidate, if you're hiring, it'll be super helpful for you to just do a better job and maybe include more details. So for interviews, for example, what you don't want is, as we're seeing more in-person interviews or even on Teams, you don't want the interview, we had feedback, didn't we, like this the other day from my client, don't make it all about the role and just throwing information at a candidate. You need to give a feel for the culture and the place they'll be working.
But you want to get to know them as well. Like, you know, are they going to fit into your culture? But the only way you're going to know that is, like, diving into the candidate and actually knowing who they are. Like, what do they actually do outside of work? What type of person are they? Like, that,
100%. And that's how you find the culture fit. And if you're not sure whether a candidate fits into culture, or, I don't know, you want to get them a bit more involved, I think quite often we have companies invite candidates to like company events and things that they're doing, maybe just before they start, or
I love that.
Just as they started. And that's always a really good way to blend them into the culture, and they don't feel so, I don't know, like nervous when they... Honestly, there's some iconic moments from this podcast, like between you not being able to talk and me throwing things on the floor and looking like I've just woken up.
It's fine, but we're here and we're live in action. No, I would also, I mean, I say it in every podcast, and it's probably it's my key thing, but communication, like, as a client, if you're working with a recruiter or a recruiter working with a client, vice versa, if you don't communicate exactly what you want, we will never know. But also, if you don't communicate who you are as a business to a recruiter, how can we pitch you to a candidate?
Yeah.
How do we know? And this comes back to actually getting to know a client and form a bond, not bond a form. So
and I guess if the communication also applies to internally. If you don't all know what you want from the next candidate, or really what you're recruiting for, maybe it's a developer but they need this experience, or maybe they need that as well, you must be very clear on what you need, because you will off-put top tier talent as such if they feel that you're all over the shop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even once again, we've been speaking a lot in this office this week, but like this morning, saying, actually getting out there. I know COVID sort of put a stop to this, but we sort of need to ease back into it. And it's something I want to get better at as well, and you've discussed it, but it's actually going to the clients, seeing their culture. So if you're working with a recruiter, say to them, do you want to pop to the office? Do you want to see how we work, what the environment's like? And it's such I was about to say invaluable. It's a valuable insight. It's a valuable insight into your business, and can give us such such great knowledge on how to actually say to our candidate, actually, no, this client you should be working for, because this is the type of person you are, that's the type of business they are. It's a match. Like, go, let's see if we can get you an interview there in front of them. And
definitely,
it's such a big part. And if we don't know your business and we don't know you, it's really hard.
And same goes for conducting in-person interviews. I really, really recommend, if there's a 2 or 3 stage interview process, firstly, there shouldn't be more than 3 stages to an interview process. I'm going to put that out there. That puts candidates off. Secondly, especially candidates that are hot on the market, so they will be snapped up like this. If you want them, you need to condense it down. So in-person interviews are crucial, because I think because of COVID, we've kind of got used to Teams, which is brilliant, but I reckon there are candidates and clients out there that aren't best matched, and if they had an in-person interview, that they would have known that.
You were really passionate about that point, weren't you? The
I
hands
don't know,
came
I'm just
out,
like...
the snaps came out. But I agree. Have you ever been to an interview where you haven't had to do it in person, face-to-face interview?
No, I mean, I wouldn't really count mine, because I didn't have a face-to-face interview at Conspicuous, but I joined like during COVID, and I did come in and meet a couple of the boys. Like, I did come in, but otherwise it's just like part-time jobs when I was at uni.
Yeah, I've never had a job interview. I don't think I'd even want to join a place if I hadn't met the people in person, But it's bizarre because it's such a 50-50 split at the moment. I would say you've got the 50% that are so against, in-person meetings and want to be fully remote and hide away. And then you've got the people that actually want to have that meeting and in-person interaction to be able to get a feel for it. And it's funny talking to different people and their preferences, which obviously it's your preference, absolutely, but I just couldn't
I think that leads on to probably, I don't know if you agree, one of the final points, but flexibility. Like, as a client, if you're hiring, doesn't matter if you're using a recruiter or not, but if you're not flexible to make your processes subjective, let's get that fly out of the room.
That fly is so loud.
Can it mind its business, please?
I'll never go live again.
I know. But if you're not flexible, then that will put a candidate off, and it can mean that you maybe lose a candidate because they can't, you're not being flexible for what they need. Say that you need people in the office 3 or 4 days a week and they need to be in 2 days occasionally because of looking after children. I don't know, something like that. If you can just offer a little bit of flexibility, goes a long way, do you think?
I would agree. Flexibility is a big thing at the moment. Those that are the clients that are now wanting people in the office full time, it's so hard to find candidates that actually want that nowadays, and it does really narrow your talent pool, I would say.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I feel like we've absolutely rambled on about loads of different areas, and I must admit, you've approached it from many angles I wouldn't have even.
I have to say, considering we wrote no notes, we did no discussion about this before, I literally was making a drink, Lucy was having a chat about something else, I was dilly-dallying, so I think we've covered a lot. I
feel like it's a topic that comes up in the office quite a lot, though, because obviously we work with a lot of clients and we want to bring new clients on board, so talking to them and having these discussions as well to say, if we work together, let's figure out the best plans who be able to get that talent. But I guess to summarise, it's just sort of, I love a bullet point, but so we started off, as a client, if you want to be able to sort of draw in talent, LinkedIn, keep it up to date.
Job adverts, salary, keep them up to date.
Yeah. Reviews and recommendations on LinkedIn, Glassdoor, any other. They're the only two that I know. If there's any other websites, keep them up to date as well.
Flexibility.
Communication with your recruiters to be able to give them valuable insights into the business and how you are as a business.
In-person meetings or interviews, as well as company events, getting candidates involved.
I love company events. I love it.
Yeah.
So.
And I can't remember the others. If you can remember any others, brilliant. But just hopefully you've watched the whole thing. As I said, we've literally gone note free. So we like freestyling and keeping it a bit more natural.
And these are just points that we think of. So obviously people are going to have other thoughts and opinions on how you can approach this topic. And it will be interesting. It will be interesting to hear your thoughts as well. Because as I said, it's all subjective. We say what comes to our mind that we think would be valuable to the industry.
And this is never always, we're never getting this all from our clients. Our clients are really good and we try and work. It's a learning process between both their side and our sides. So this is just from what we picked up across the industry and speaking to candidates as well. So
it's ever evolving.
It is, definitely.
You've got to keep up to date.
We can improve, you can improve, everyone can improve, because no one is 100% perfect. But I think it's just nice to see it from our point of view, because we deal with both candidates and clients. But thank you for the topic.
Yeah, no worries. I'll let you decide next week. But no, I think it was a nice one to discuss. So
definitely.
Happy we could talk about it. Well, hopefully the LinkedIn Live, it's worked. We apologise about the fly incident and a few things happening. But obviously if the LinkedIn Live is something that you want, we can obviously do this every time we do our weekly podcast. But tune in next week for episode 11.
Right.
See you all then.
See you all then. Thank you.